Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. I hope you can all hear me. I can't see you, but hopefully you can see me. Um, there are nearly 90 of us here today, half of whom are consultants and ophthalmic trainees, and the other half are representatives from optometry, orthoptists, specialist nurses, the Chief Scientist Office, Scottish Government and university staff. So hopefully we will have a useful and productive day. From the start, I really would like to thank Alan McNair at the Chief Scientist Office and Sarah Kennedy, the Ophthalmology Research Portfolio Manager, who have been incredibly supportive and made today possible. So I think we all agree that we've been under tremendous challenge simply trying to deliver eye services over the last 18 months. And unfortunately, it has had an adverse effect on research. It has meant that the existing studies on our portfolio are struggling to recruit patients, but also any new ideas and new projects are really struggling to take off because of the incredible social restrictions and rules and regulations around infection control. So it is proving quite difficult. That is indeed why the Chief Scientist Office and some ophthalmologists and research decided to have a day such as today to think of new and innovative ways of progressing with new research, as well as supporting the trials that are ongoing. The day's been arranged by the chairs into 4 sessions, and each session addresses a different aspect of research. And hopefully there are contacts at the end of each session that will help you going into the future. There are some pieces of work that are already complete, but also new pieces of work enhancing the tremendous infrastructure that exists, some of which is unique to Scotland, the National Centre for Statistics, the Chief Scientist Office, and various other organisations. We're really very well structured in Scotland for research, and we have a fairly small population that can be covered almost in its entirety. So you all have with you the format of the day, and by and large, we will be sticking to that format, with the exception of session 3, which may have a slightly longer time for panel discussion. But what we hope to do is continue with the panel discussion and then reserve about 10 or 15 minutes at the end to specifically discuss trainee research, pilots and funding available. So I will shortly be introducing the first speaker. Please remember that the questions are all taken at the end of each session during the panel discussion and not after every speaker. We'd be very grateful if you would use the Q&A modality for questions rather than the chat, and that allows each chair to collate the questions. So the first speaker is Sarah Kennedy. Sarah Kennedy is the Research Network Portfolio Manager. So she has oversight of both the commercial and non-commercial trials and studies across Scotland. She's also in touch with the 14 health boards and the research managers across Scotland. So she's ideally placed to help with recruitment as well as pass on new ideas to each of the ophthalmology departments. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you for having me today. My name is Sarah Kennedy. I'm the NRS Ophthalmology Research Manager. NRS is a partnership between the Scottish Health Boards and the Chief Scientist Office. They hold an NRS support budget, which meets the cost of NHS hosting and participating in research. It also supports NRS infrastructure, including specialties such as ophthalmology, and supports over 190 NHS research posts. My role is to oversee the portfolio of NRS ophthalmology research within Scotland. This portfolio consists of commercially funded activity as well as non-commercial activity. The non-commercial activity falls into two groups. Those that are automatically eligible are funded by a funder on the NIHR or NRS funders list. This includes ophthalmology-specific funders, such as the College of Optometrists, Sight for Sight, the Macular Society, Royal College of Ophthalmologists, to name a few. Those non-commercial projects that don't fall within this can apply to become part of our portfolio through the extended review process if they're funded by an overseas government, overseas charity, or investigator-initiated commercially funded trial, and they need to meet certain criteria. For example, the funds need to be awarded in open competition, they're subject to independent expert peer review, and they need to meet the needs and priorities of the NHS. This is to ensure that the portfolio of studies that we're supporting is high quality. We support research that is observational as well as interventional, both medical and surgical, looking at the prevention, treatment and management of long-term eye conditions. So the ways that we can help you and support your research: we support applications for funders to be added to the eligible funder list. We support peer review for the extended review process. And in terms of management of the active portfolio, we troubleshoot issues with poor recruitment. We can work with study teams to identify additional sites for studies if they're struggling, or work with investigators to target specific studies that they would like to participate in. We also link with R&D colleagues to facilitate study setup, and we support training and development of researchers through educational days such as today. I'd like to highlight some CSO funding opportunities that might be of interest. The first one is the Clinical Academic Fellowships. These are an opportunity for clinical professionals early in their career to undertake a PhD. The scheme will be open again in June 2022 for the next round of applications. We also have the joint NES CSO postdoctoral clinical lectureship scheme. This is an opportunity for research time for medical doctors who've completed a research degree and are currently working towards the completion of their specialty training. This scheme is currently open with the deadline of Monday the 31st of January 2022. And finally, we have the NRS Career Research Fellowship scheme. This is funding for staff who are not currently research active to receive protected time to contribute to conduct and lead clinical research. This is open to consultants but also non-medical applicants such as orthoptists. There's additional information on these schemes available on the CSO website with the link below. And we're also very pleased today to be able to launch the third round of our Ophthalmology Trainee Research Award funding. This scheme supports Scottish ophthalmology trainees to develop a one-year research project within their post. It provides funding for protected time to contribute to, conduct and lead ophthalmology research. And the scheme for this year is funded in partnership between Santon, the Chief Scientist Office and NHS Fife. The scheme will close to applications on Monday the 28th of February 2022, and you can find additional information such as the application form and also the guidance for completing the application on our website. If you'd like further information on what our scheme involves, any of the other funding opportunities, or any information about how we can support the portfolio, or how we can support you to become more research active, please contact myself, Sarah Kennedy, or Professor Roshini Sanders, who's our clinical lead. Please visit our website and also follow us on Twitter. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.
Thank you, Sarah. So thank you for giving us that comprehensive overview. There was actually quite a lot of information there, and please remember that these lectures are all recorded and all the contacts and websites will be available to you. And I think it's also important to emphasize that while there are the long-standing NRS fellowships, there's also funding available for short-term projects and some funding for allied health professionals. Thank you.